Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in once again to Last Word Productions. I'm your host, Tavares Wilson, and I always get the last word. I hope you all, for my Clinton State students, I hope you all enjoyed your spring break. And y'all, I know y'all miss me. Y'all wanted to get back to the news. Y'all want to know what's going on in the NFL and the NBA. Well, I'm about to tell you. Let's get right back into it. We're going to start off with the NBA as we usually do. So the NBA news, as y'all can see, the Golden State Warriors have been looking pretty good since the return of DeMarcus Cousins, and they have had their injury problems of late. But when this guy seems to be on, this team seems to be a whole lot better. Last night, he had a terrific game, shooting 11-16 from the field, 27 points. He just manhandled the Houston Rockets himself, basically, him along with Steph Curry. But my question is, can the Golden State Warriors be beaten? Like, who can be the David to this Goliath? Is there a chance that any team can beat this team? And I'm giving you out the top two teams I feel as if can beat these teams and to this team in both the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. We're going to start off in the Western Conference, being the fact that they're in the West, so we're going to see if someone can knock them out before they reach the finals. And the best team I believe has the chance to beat them is the OKC Thunder. I feel like OKC, not to say anything ill or try to, badmouth Carmelo Anthony, but it seems after he left, their ball movement between Paul George with Russell Westbrook and the other role players such as Steven Adams and Terrence Ferguson, they just seem to be moving the ball a whole lot better. The addition of Dennis Schroeder this offseason was a huge one because they needed scoring off the bench, and he's providing that. He's having a pretty good year. He's having a career year, actually. And Russell Westbrook has become more of a floor general than he has ever been in his career. He's helping guys like Steven Adams, Dennis Schroeder, Paul George, Terrence Ferguson, Jeremy Grant. He's helping evolve these guys' games, and they're having career highs in points per game and field goal shooting. So I feel as if with his style of play right now and their ability to have that defensive mindset as long as the offensive mindset as a team, because as a team they play pretty good defense. Paul George is probably one of the runners for defensive players of the year this year. At one point, Russell Westbrook was averaging 3 steals over games and in some games, and he's been just balling. So I feel as if they have the best chance as it stands right now against the Golden State Warriors. My second team in the out west that I feel as if that could beat the Golden State Warriors are Houston, the team that actually just lost to the Warriors last night. But I give Houston a chance simply because James Harden and Chris Paul and Clint Capella, Eric Gordon as well, he's been playing lights out this past month. And I feel as if these guys can compete with the firepower of the Golden State Warriors. Clint Capella is one of the best underrated centers in the league as we speak. He's a guy who can protect the rim. He can give you 12 to 10 points a night if he's given the ball. He's not going to take more than 12 to 15 shots, but he is an efficient scorer, and he does score when he has the ball and when he needs to. Chris Paul, we all know Chris Paul is a good two-way guard. He can score the ball. He can definitely pass the ball, defend. So I feel as if he'll be a good matchup any given night against any point guard in the league, even if it's Steph Curry. James Harden is scoring on everyone in the league, period, point blank. We've seen it this year. He was on a historical run. He just finished going the second longest streak for 30 points or better in the games. He's just a guy he is a ball dominant player, but he's going to score and he's going to put up points and he's going to get others involved. That's the most important part. He gets his teammates involved. He helps make them better, and I just feel like they have a chance. They may not be able to beat the Warriors, but they do have a solid chance. They have a way better chance than people will give them credit for because they do play fundamental basketball. They have a good bench with. Then they come out the bench. They had got Iman Shumpert, who's a good two-way player. They had got Kenneth Faried. He's been playing the career highs with rebounds and points per game. So these guys are a pretty good team, and they can't be slept on when it comes to the Warriors, facing the Warriors. Out East, I'm going to start off with the 76ers, and I feel as though the 76ers have the best chance due to the fact that their size advantage and their offensive prowess, they just are a team who can beat you in multiple ways. Joel Embiid, probably the best center in the league right now, if we're being honest. He can play both ends of the floor. He can put up 30. He can get 4 blocks. He can get 15 rebounds. He's a guy that's, ever since he's got fully healthy, he's a guy that's been playing at an all-time level. He's competing every night. He's putting up, he's giving you the production you thought he would coming out of college. Ben Simmons, even though he still needs to work on his jumper, he's still distributing the ball. He's still scoring 15, 18 points a night. He's still getting rebounds. He's a big point guard. He's a point guard and a power forward's body. It's a big dude, so he's a mismatch any given night for any point guard just off of his size alone. They also had Jimmy Butler, who they added. And Tobias Harris. Both players can score, have proven they can be all-star level type players in this league. Both were really good additions, and they're going to help this team go far. Now, I can see them going to the final, and I can see them compete with the Warriors because they have just as much as talent and explosiveness as the Warriors have at all 5 positions, because J.J. Redick is still a great shooter at this point in his career. He can still give you 18 to 21 points if he's hot. He can still give you that. He's still a deadly 3-point shooter. That's without question. And I just feel like the 76ers have a really good chance because they have a lot of talent. And once it truly meshes, it's going to be scary. And the second team out East that I feel as if can beat the Warriors, I have to go with the Raptors. And I say the Raptors because simply for the fact I believe they have the best player out East right now, Kawhi Leonard. They are a well-rounded team. Serge Ibaka has been playing well this year. Kyle Lowry. Danny Green has been playing well. They have a good bench. They're well coached. But I just feel as if Kawhi Leonard is the difference maker for this team. Even after they traded for a guy like Marc Gasol and they have him coming off the bench, Kawhi Leonard is definitely the difference maker. And he will be the difference maker in that series if it was to come down to the Raptors and the Warriors in the finals, because he's the best two-way player in the league to me without question. He's playing at a top 3 level right now. He's a guy who's been balling all season. He's made a case for the MVP, but other guys have made stronger cases, so he's really been on the outside looking in. But don't get it wrong, he's been balling this season, and he's a guy who can give you 27 a night while guarding your best players, such as a Kevin Durant, such as a Steph Curry. That's just who he is. And then Danny Green also adds that perimeter. A good perimeter defender with Kyle Lowry, who's a savvy, aggressive guard. So I feel as if they can compete solely based on their defense, but also they can score as good as any team in the league on a good night. All right, after that, we're going to get into free agency predictions. I'm going to just give y'all the top 5 names I believe and where they're going to go. I'm going to start off with Kevin Durant. I feel as if this is KD's last season with the Golden State Warriors. I think he goes to New York. I feel as if he goes to New York because, for one, New York has they're going to have a lot of cap space right now. They should be able to sign one big name player, and I feel as if that big name player is Kevin Durant because of the fact they're building something there. They just traded for Dennis Smith Jr. They still have DeAndre Jordan. They got a lot of young talent right now in New York with Dennis Smith, Kevin Knox, and those guys. I feel as if adding Kevin Durant would not only make those guys' game better because he will help open up the floor for them, but it will bring them to becoming a playoff team, and they should be able to compete in the East immediately. My second player I will speak on is Kawhi Leonard. And I feel as if Kawhi resigns with the Raptors. I feel as if he's in a good situation. No player is going to leave a good situation. They feel as if they could win a championship if that's what they truly value. And I feel as if that's what Kawhi truly values. He's never been a guy for publicity, for the money, for the media, any of that. His personality shows it. And I feel as if he stays with the Raptors because he's, like I said, he's already on a good team. He seems to like the organization. He seems to like what's going on, and this is honestly a good move for him because he can prove he's a dominant player as LeBron James is by dominating the East like LeBron did. Third player I want to speak on, Kyrie Irving. This move may not happen, but I feel as if it's the strongest possibility. But I think he go to Los Angeles, and I say that because we've seen in recent news him apologizing publicly to LeBron, him and LeBron with the little grin, snickering after the games, the Celtics games and things like that, Celtics-Lakers games. I feel as if they're communicating, they're speaking on something. And I know Kyrie, in his heart of hearts, he's not genuinely happy with the Celtics right now, even though they have a good team. But that atmosphere, that locker room seems to be kind of toxic right now due to the fact that everyone doesn't seem like they want to play with everyone, with anyone else. Like Marcus Morris has come out and spoke on it, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving. Like these guys don't seem to be happy with their situation right now, even though they're a talented team and they have a great head coach. Which could be confusing because you would think, you playing for a good team, you think they'll be happy with what they have, but that's not the case. The fourth player I want to talk about is Kemba Walker. I think Kemba walks. I think he's been getting mistreated in Charlotte for far too long. I think he's going to get tired of it, and I think he walks and he goes to the Mavericks. I feel as if the Mavericks are making moves to get players to surround them with Luka and Porzingis, who they just recently traded for. Penny Hardaway Jr. is also there, who hasn't been playing up to his potential or his draft stock that a lot of people thought he would be, especially with his father's name. But, he's still a pretty solid player. But if they were to sign Kemba Walker, that would be a great move by the Mavs because that's another scorer. That's another guy that can give you 30 a night. Jimmy Butler is my last player I'll speak on. I believe he re-signs with the 76ers. The 76ers they let it be known that they had all intentions to re-sign Jimmy Butler once they traded him from the Timberwolves. So I don't see them letting him go at all, unless Jimmy truly doesn't like the atmosphere he's in. That's the only way I see him walking. But other than that, I think he re-signs with the 76ers. All right, let's get off in the NFL news. As you all probably seen, the NFL has some crazy signings. A lot of teams won big, went all out when they cut space and their money. And other teams just sat back and enjoyed the show. So I'm going to speak on the winners and the losers of the free agency. I'm going to start with the winners first. First one I have here is the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have been terrible the past forever. If we're being honest, this team in recent memory has not been good at all. But even with all those woes, they finally have found their guy in Baker Mayfield to be their quarterback. This team has had the most quarterback changes in the league since, I believe, 2008. It's been a rocky road for Cleveland Brown fans, but Baker Mayfield is that guy. I thought he was that guy coming out of Oklahoma, and he's proven it now. He's been balling. He was balling his rookie season. To me, I feel as if he should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year, but Saquon Barkley played extremely well as well, so I can't be upset at that. But Baker Mayfield is a guy who they are invested in and they're going to build around, and they showed that with the signing of Kareem Hunt and with the trade of Odell Beckham. Those two guys are Pro Bowl caliber players, and they will produce. That's every night. They're producing every game, every Sunday. That's without question. Odell Beckham is the top 3 receiver in this league. I honestly am still in shock that the Giants let him go because they literally just signed him to an extension last season. But, you know, they paired him up with Jarvis Landry and Antonio Callaway and Higgins, which is, they have pretty good receivers, and they also have David Njoku at the tight end position with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb in the backfield. They have the talent and the skill positions on the offensive side to be a top 5 offense in the league, like day one. And honestly, when you look at it on paper, it just honestly looks real good. And I feel as if Baker Mayfield will make it all mesh. He will make it all work because he's that talented of a player. He's that smart of a player. His IQ is a lot higher than a lot of people think. He's a guy that was doubted throughout his career, but he's proven now that he deserves to be playing on a great team and at a high level. But on the other side of the ball for the Browns, they did just as well. They traded for Olivier Vernon, a good pass rusher who will complement Myles Garrett great. They signed Sheldon Richardson, a really good Pro Bowl defensive tackle, who is a guy that's honestly has had his off-the-field troubles, but last season he was perfectly fine for the Vikings. He had a good year. He's not a guy that's going to post up double-digit sacks numbers, but his help against the run and his QB pressures is amongst one of the best in the league, and he's a guy that's going to help improve that front 7. So the Browns are by far my clear-cut winners, number 1 winners of free agency right now. The New York Jets, they also are one of the winners of free agency. The Jets spent a lot of money on a lot of players, and they look like they're going to get their dollars worth with these players' productions. They signed Le'Veon Bell, the running back, all-pro running back who sat out all last season from Pittsburgh because he didn't get the guarantee or money he wanted, or the atmosphere, the locker room seemed to not be what any player wanted. Honestly, especially after seeing Antonio Brown so frustrated with Ben Roethlisberger and his comments on him and how he said dudes doesn't accept responsibility for their actions or their imperfections. And I feel as if Le'Veon Bell probably had that same exact issue, and Mike Tomlin doesn't seem to be a guy who has full control of his locker room, but that's another conversation for another day. The Jets signed Le'Veon Bell. They signed C.J. Mosley to a monster contract, and a lot of people don't believe C.J. Mosley should be worth $17 million per year. But this is a young stud. This is a guy who can play the run well, can play the pass well. He can command the defense at his middle linebacker position. He's going to run sideline to sideline. He's going to improve that defense day one. And as a Dolphin fan, that is scary to say because this guy is really, really good. And Jamison Crowder, also Josh Bellamy, guys who are going to add to the mix, help. Josh Bellamy can help in the specials teams. He can return kicks, return punts, and he can give you a few catches at receiver. Jamison Crowder is that slot receiver the Jets needed. He's going to complement guys like Quincy Enunwa so well because he's going to help them get open over the top because of the things he can do underneath. But guys like Le'Veon Bell, Jamison Crowder, Kelsey Osemele, the lineman they traded from the Raiders, these guys are going to help young Sam Darnold get a whole lot better because it's not that he was a bad quarterback. His situation and coaching wasn't really around him to be the player he could have been. I don't feel as if he's a bad quarterback. I don't feel as if he's a great quarterback, but he can be good if he's put in the right position. And the pieces they're adding around him, they're going in the right direction right now, so there's no telling how well he can improve from year one to year two. And the third one is I have from free agency, I have to go with the Raiders. When you get the best receiver in the leagues, you win automatically. To me, you're a winner. They not only did they add Antonio Brown for just a third and fifth round picks, they added Terrell Williams as well, the receiver from the Chargers, who's a pretty good number 2 option. These guys, they went out and got LaMarcus Joyner from the Rams, a Pro Bowl safety. They're making good moves. They're making real good moves. Everyone thought John Gruden was foolish for the trades he made, but we still have to see those pan out, because I still agree with trading a talent such as Khalil Mack. But like I said, we'll have to see if the trades pan out. We'll have to see exactly what happens, because with 3 first-round picks, you have to hit on all 3 for trading a guy like Khalil Mack. You just have to. And Amari Cooper at that, you have to hit on it. But let's get to the losers of free agency. My first number 1 loser, and this is by far, is the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts had the most cap space in the league with over $100 million. I just knew they was going to sign either Le'Veon Bell or Landon Collins, and they failed to sign either one of those guys. And it's honestly just a shame that you have that much cap space, you have that much mobility, and you could at the very least sign 2 names, big names, and you failed to sign 1. I just feel like the Colts didn't pursue anyone or anything this free agency, and the only guy they signed was a guy, Devin Funchess, who they gave $13 million to for a 1-year contract. He's not worth that to me at all. He's a good receiver, don't get me wrong, but you're paying a guy to be a number 2 receiver $13 million for a 1-year contract. I don't typically agree with the move. I think he does complement a guy like T.Y. Hilton, and he would help a guy like Eric Ebron get less coverage in the red zone because of his size. But I feel as if they could have got him for significantly cheaper. I also feel as if they should have signed Landon Collins, who would have been a big acquisition complimenting Malik Hooker, but they failed to sign him. Let's get to the second team. This one hurts me, but it's the Miami Dolphins. As a Miami Dolphin fan, I was hoping for something this offseason, and we ended up with nothing, basically. We were the front runners for Trey Flowers at one point, but he ended up signing with the Lions. I feel as if we didn't do enough to get him, but what happened. He's a young stud pass rusher. He was well worth the money. He's going to get better as he plays because, like I said, he's still young. I believe he's only 25, and no, he's no older than 26. He's going to get better. We tried to sign Teddy Bridgewater, but the report saying he's not interested in signing with us. He prefers to re-sign with the Saints, which I understand. He was to play for a winner and learn from Drew Brees, even though it upset me as a fan that he didn't sign with us, because I know our quarterback troubles right now, but I completely understand it from a football perspective. And us going out and signing a guy like Dwayne Allen and Eric Rowe, guys who were not really producing big numbers or hardly playing at that when they were with the Patriots last season, and we give these guys $3.5 and $2.5 million on 1-year contracts. I mean, they're not big contracts, but these are guys who you're taking chances on to help you go through a rebuilding stage, and I just feel as if those guys aren't as talented. I feel as if they wasted money signing a tight end, period, due to the fact that we drafted 2 last year. So I just don't understand the moves right now by the Dolphins. But it's a new coaching staff, it's a new front office. We claim to be in the rebuilding process, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, the Cleveland Browns, their front office seems to be coming in day one making great moves, and our front office just seems to be making excuses at this point. But my last loser for free agency, I'm going to have to go, even though this team is a great team, I'm going to have to go with the Ravens, only because they let C.J. Mosley walk, and you just don't let that type of caliber player walk, especially at the position he played. Even though they signed a guy in, excuse me, in Earl Thomas to replace Eric Weddle, that pans out. But when you let a guy like C.J. Mosley go, you lose control and command of your defense. The guy who commanded that respect, and then you also lost your veteran pass rusher in Terrell Suggs, who was up in age, but he still was that emotional leader you needed on any team. And with them losing C.J. Mosley and Terrell Suggs, that defense, I believe, will take a step back this following season. Even though they did well, signing Mark Ingram as well, giving Lamar Jackson another weapon who could help elevate his game. But I just feel as if they could have done more by keeping C.J. Mosley. But they did do well trading Joe Flacco. I will say that. He's not a good quarterback anymore at this point in his career. I'm glad they moved on from him. Lamar Jackson is the answer, and he should be the guy they should build around, as you can see. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. Make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube channel at Last Word Productions. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at lastword_productions. And y'all tune in to the rest of the shows we have here on the CSIR Internet Radio. They're all great shows, and thank you all for tuning in to mine. Y'all have a great day.